Hey, welcome back, everyone.
Welcome back to the review.
Welcome, Mark. It's good to see you.
And good to see you too. I know you've had a busy week. So
can you actually see me? Because I feel like I'm blending into the wall because I'm not at my house because I moved this week. Yay, I got a new place. But my internet's not connected, and it takes AT&T a year to show up to install your stuff. So I still have to wait another week. So I'm at Brittany's house, and I'm upstairs in her guest room. And the walls are actually a beautiful pale gray, but I feel like I'm blending into them. Like all you can see is my eyebrows.
We'll fix it in post.
Yes. I'll try to do some editing. So
yes.
So how's it going? What you been up to?
Well, we've had a lot going on. Our kids started school this week. They're doing, we decided long before all this COVID stuff that they were going to try online school in 9th grade, their freshman year. And they're loving it. They're doing so well with it. They're like way more responsible than we thought they would be as far as like just the morning we thought, oh, okay, homeschooled, so to speak, I could sleep in, but they've been getting up and getting their homework done, and they've been doing their chores in the morning, and so far it's been great. And then my wife's a school teacher, and I haven't even talked to her today about her first day with students, but I know it's been crazy there. So it's been a crazy week, but today for me was really weird. So some may know I have the story with my pool of Mr. Deer. I had a deer in my pool couple of year and a half ago. And for some reason, I decided to film the whole exchange and call him Mr. Deer, and people got a good laugh out of it. He was swimming in my pool, doing laps, and then I tried to get him out, and he literally barked at me. I did not know deer could make that sound. He barked at me. It was very creepy. It's a she, I know, but he's Mr. Deer. And then I got him out of the pool, and then I felt like I was trapped. He's staring at me, and I'm trapped in my pool area. And I'm on the phone, and I'm like, oh, now I've done it. I don't know what, I'm stuck. And so it finally turned and tried to hop over my fence, and then the second time it successfully got out. But anyway, so I have a history of weird things with my pool. And so today I go to clean the skimmer to empty it out, and that's where all the leaves and everything kind of collect. And I open it, and there's this huge spider like I've never seen before. These long, creepy legs, and it's dangling alive.
Oh, that's worse.
Alive, and it's dangling on the top of the skimmer so it doesn't fall in the water. And so I'm like, so I go get my phone because I don't think people will believe me, that there's this huge spider. So I take video of it. I post it on Facebook to see if anybody knows what kind of spider it is. Because, I'm from Minnesota. All these kind of southern Tennessee type spiders are new and fairly fascinating to me. We've had a garden orb weaver spider, whatever, beautiful, harmless, eats bugs, all that. But there are some dangerous ones in Tennessee. So I'm like, what is this? And I take video and I post it. So then I'm like, okay, I can't not do something about this. I got to swim in this pool, and my kids want to swim in the pool. So I'm like, okay, I'm going to take a shovel. I'm going to try to get the spider on the shovel and lift it over the fence to where it's, away from the pool. Well, I accidentally knock it in the water, and I'm okay with that. So I kind of watch the thing drown, right? And I'm like, okay, I try not to feel bad, but it's a spider, it's gross. And so I close the skimmer and I'm like, okay, I'm done. And I go and what is it? It's Thursday. Okay, so I have a half day Thursday and then I teach lessons. So I take a little nap. I do on Thursday. And I get up and I go check the spider. And of course, okay, it's dead. So I pull it out of the skimmer and I empty it out because I want to see it, because I want to really identify what it is. So I get a cardboard box, I put it in there and it's dead. And I spread things around and I take a picture of it. And people decided, and Estella helps me, it's a wolf spider. Okay, so wolf spiders are poisonous, but they're not like really dangerous and all that. So I decide I'm going to take a little solar, I'm redecorating a bit in the backyard, a solar light top and put it over the spider just to keep it there because I want to show Leah when she gets home and other people because it's fascinating. So Leah comes up, no, I don't want to see it. So like 10 minutes before we are filming this, I go out there and I lift up the lid and a little leg moves. And so I'm like, you're kidding me. And so I hope it's a reflex. So I touch it and it scampers away. And I'm like, this was dead. Now, mind you, I'm not kidding. It's like that big.
Yeah, it's big. I saw your picture. You put a quarter next to it.
Yeah, and I put a quarter next to it so you could see. And so dead, of course, it's a little, less big, but when it's like all stretched out, oh my gosh. So I just spent a few minutes like walking it in this cardboard box over out to the woods by our house and just leaving it there. I'm like, it's too big to like kill. But I'm like, it was in the water, drowned, dead for at least 2 hours.
And you knew it was dead.
And then it comes to life.
That's creepy.
Oh.
It's related to
gross.
The murder hornets.
What's that?
Probably related to the murder hornets.
Oh, yes. Well, 2020, as you know, could not get any worse or better. It's just its own thing.
Spiders are.
So I'd much rather have a deer than a spider. But, woo! So that's my story. I thought I had a dead spider that came back to life, and that's 2020. Ugh. So I'll post it on Facebook. I took video of it to prove it's alive.
Well, I've been bit by spiders so many times that I should be Spider-Man, but I think I have an immunity to spider bites because I have been bit. I still have on my leg a bite from 2 months ago from a brown recluse, and it still hasn't quite gone away, but it's almost. But yeah, I've been bit by a brown recluse a couple of times, and so is Journey.
They can be bad.
Yeah, they can be. Depends, but
that's good to know, though. That actually makes me feel a bit better that you didn't have a ton of consequences from that, because I've heard bad things.
Yeah, I've seen things. You don't Google the picture, you will pass out. But it just depends on, I think, the person or the spider, or if you don't clean it, if it gets infected or something, it can get really bad. But I've been bit a couple of times. In Journey, we have a tornado shelter. And so sometimes I don't know what's worse, taking your risk with a tornado or a brown recluse, because one time we hadn't used the shelter for a while and we opened the door because there's a tornado warning and 5 brown recluses crawled out. So we went down there anyway and Journey got bit on the thigh. They like thighs because that's where I got bit.
I heard that.
Yeah, they like thighs. So, anyway, so Mark, you've had a deer. You've had a spider. Now today you've had a squirrel that planted corn in your yard because you have all these weird things with animals.
I picked my first cob today.
That is the
I did.
story.
I brought it. It's in the kitchen. I could get it, but I peeled it and everything. I Googled when is the best time to harvest corn because I want to give this a shot. What if this is good? And so I've got one that's ready. There's several more still coming, but we might cook that thing up tonight, and I'll give a report next time, see if that's any good. But yeah, Mr. Squirrel. They're all misters.
Well, you had a mouse. I saw the mouse that visited Estella.
Yes, we have.
But you know how to get rid of mice. Dress up as a cat. And I am behind in the talent contest. You are
not.
I'm behind you.
You are not.
I'm not.
No, you have. You had a big donation, Miss Denise Parton.
Ooh,
You are way ahead.
I don't have internet.
You have an anonymous $500 donation.
Oh.
You're in the 800.
I didn't know that because that is crazy. Somebody wants you
You
to
are winning. But also what that means is we are over $5,000
That's great.
raised for the center. That's huge. And we still have a month.
That's good. We need to hit our big 15,000 mark that we said we would as a overall as a center. So yay. Well, you're going to have to dress up in the cat because you got some catching up to do. I'm so happy. See, I don't have internet right now, and my phone does not get reception in my house. It's like a dead zone there. I mean, you can't, I have one bar, maybe a half a bar. So I haven't been on Facebook or anything at all until I came over here to Brittany's house, but I haven't checked on the status of the contest since Friday. So that's a happy, happy, happy announcement.
Yes. Yeah, I was shocked. You're like way ahead now, but that's good. It's good for the center.
Yes, and good for everyone to get to see you dress up in a cat costume. So, and I was going to offer today, I was going to offer a prize for someone who would put me over the mark and beat you. And if that person, that anonymous donor comes, you know, and tells me who they are, I will send it to them. If not, the next person that donates and takes me, it'll have to donate at least 100. I have a Dear Evan Hansen book signed by Pasek and Paul composers. It's autographed by them. So I'm going to give it to someone who donates 100, unless the anonymous donor wants to come out. So anyway, talking about my move last week on this, I did this a lot, if people noticed, and I know it was distracting. I had last minute paperwork to sign for my 3-day clock countdown to close on my house, and they had been pushing my close back for a month, and so I had to sign that right away. So I wasn't texting. I was teasing and said I text Lynn Manuel Miranda, and we were talking about the show, but actually I was signing on my paperwork so I could move. And I moved on Saturday, and I wanted to say and do a shout out for all the people that came and helped, all my theater family. There was so many people. I had a tribe, and they got me moved in. And shout out to the Pettys, Clinton, Tina, Jake, and Emma Beth, and Callum, and the Hansons, and all of them that came and helped me just like get in. It was so nice. And my son-in-law, Caleb, oh my gosh, it was like he took care of his mom-in-law. So that was really great. But saying all that, is theater family is wonderful to grow up in. And so our guest today, a lot of people know that I have a daughter, Journey, because she's in the CSA shows and they see her, but some people don't know that I have actually 4 daughters, my 4 winds of the earth. And there's 2 of them, my 2 oldest, Autumn and Brittany, grew up in children's theater out in California. And so they're our guests today. So I'm going to bring them on because they're going to sing for us. And then they're going to talk about what it's like to be in kids theater and grow up in that. So we are going to welcome to our show. So it's my 2 daughters, Autumn and Brittany. And a lot of you know Brittany at the center she is our choreographer. She does all the kids shows and she's done a lot of main stage. Her latest, or I guess gave her the most notoriety, was Newsies. Mark directed that and Brittany choreographed it. So they grew up, both of them grew up in theater out in California. And so we were just saying that all our CSA online classes are coming up. And so kids should register even though we're not in person because it's such an important thing to stay apart. And you can connect through Zoom. We're doing it now. I mean, we're doing a show. Mark's at his house. I'm upstairs at Brittany's, and Brittany and Autumn are downstairs in Brittany's shower, actually, because it's got good. So what other show can you have people singing in the shower and you can film them and put it on their talk show? Woo, we should get some good ratings. So here we go. They're going to sing for us, and then we're going to chat with them for a little bit. Okay, so Autumn and Brittany singing in the shower. Take it away.
All right. Should we say what we're singing?
Yeah, go ahead.
We're singing The One That Got Away by the Civil Wars, just a little part of it.
We're going to get our note real quick, so yeah. You might want to cut this little part out.
Oh, if I could go back in time when you only held me in my mind, just a longing gone without a trace. Oh, I wish I'd never, ever seen your face. I wish you were the one. I wish you were the one that got away. I miss the way you wanted me when I was staying just out of your reach, begging for the slightest touch. Ooh, you couldn't get enough. Ooh. Oh, if I could go back in time when you only held me in my mind, just a longing gone without a trace. Oh, I wish I'd never, ever seen your face. I wish you were the one. I wish you were the one that got away. Got away from me. Got away from me. For anybody has to bleed. Oh, if I could go back in time when you only held me in my mind, just a longing gone without a trace. Oh, I wish I'd never, ever seen your face. I wish you were the one. I wish you were the one. Oh, I wish you were the one. I wish you were the one that got away.
Good job, you shower singers. So Mark, isn't
Thank
it
you.
like wonderful to have talented kids? Don't you love it when Jude and Estella sing? And are you a proud papa? And
I do. I do. They don't sing too much together like that, but man, do I love sibling harmonies.
Mhm.
Like some of the best, groups, the Jackson 5. I mean, we're talking way back. The harmonies, because like the vibratos match up. And if there's a unique voice, it's hard to find another person with another unique voice, but usually in the family, they at least like complement each other. So it's always a treat to hear siblings sing together. Yeah, it's good.
I always loved hearing them, and every time company would come over when they were little and stuff, I'd say, "You girls sing this or sing that." I used to embarrass them so bad.
Oh.
I was so
You were
proud.
one of those moms.
Yes, I was.
Like horrible. Yeah, she was big time. Like, oh, you name it, she had us do it.
Yeah, there wasn't a together we didn't perform at least 7 songs.
It was true. Every time people would come over for dinner, they had a dinner show, and they kept coming over for dinner, so they must have liked it. Because I would go, "Oh, sing Gather at the River. Oh, sing that one, How Can I Keep From Singing?" I mean, I would say, "Do this, do that," because I loved it, and I loved hearing it, so I thought everybody else would too. That's why I have them on the show today.
We were a lot better back then. We haven't sang in a while, so
Warmed up the old vocalizers.
yeah, exactly.
Yeah, I don't think I've heard you guys sing before. Like
Mm-mm.
I've worked with Brittany for years, and I've only seen her dance.
Brittany
Yeah.
has a very unique sound, a very unique voice. She was in her high school show choir, and she was their lead soloist her senior year, and they went to Hawaii, and they swept competition. They won everything. And I didn't direct it, but the director out in California, she was our Pocahontas, and Autumn was Dorothy in Wizard of Oz. I didn't direct that one either, so I didn't give all my kids the parts. They had a lot of other directors out there, but they did really good. You guys do the How Can I Keep really quick, just the short part. It's really good.
See,
But you just do it. Just do that one for me.
on.
We didn't
Fine.
practice that
Wait,
one.
we can do that
You
one.
can
though.
do
It's not
it.
a problem.
Do it real quick.
All right.
Okay.
No,
How can I keep? How can I keep? How can I keep from singing? My life flows on in endless song. I hear the music ringing, finds an echo in my soul. How can I keep singing.
I could now when Journey was a baby, they would sing that all the time. Whenever she'd start crying, they would sing that together, and she would immediately calm immediately and go to sleep. So that was her, go to sleep song. And so one time she had Autumn dropped Journey when Journey was like not even 4 or 5 months old. She dropped her on her head and she cracked her skull literally. And so we had to go. No, it was before that. She had croup. It was another. Journey had 2 emergency room visits that were life threatening when she was younger. So they had to do some kind of for her croup, they had to do some kind of lung x-ray or something. I don't remember. They had to put her in that MRI machine or whatever, and she was crying. And Autumn and Brittany weren't there. I was just there. And so I thought that's the only thing that calms her. So I stood outside that machine with the big, heavy lead apron on and saying, how can I keep, I started singing it for her just to keep her calm. And when they got done, the x-ray technician came to me and said, because he knew we'd just moved to Tennessee, and he goes, did you move here to become a country music singer? I said, no. And he goes, oh, that was really good. So that was funny. I'll never forget that. I had to sing it.
Whatever works in those situations. Estella had to have a surgery when she was 19 days old, and she was born at 4 pounds, 11 ounces.
Oh, wow.
And so by the time of the surgery, she was a maybe back to that weight. And they had to put her in an MRI too. And they're like, it'd be best if she was sleeping. I'm like, okay, yeah, I'll get my 19-day-old daughter sleeping. So we tried everything we could to keep her awake until it was MRI time. And then we swaddled her and put her in there. And she did just great. But man, it's scary, right? To watch your child, a little bitty, go in that big old machine. That's burned in my memory. That was not fun.
Autumn dropping Journey on her head burned in my memory too, because her head swelled up so big, and we had to take her to Vanderbilt. She was fine, but it was a scary, scary day when that happened.
You think it's burned in your memory? I was the one right there. It scared the living daylights out of me. They had to send in a trauma grief counselor for me when we got to the hospital because I was so felt so terrible.
Yeah, Autumn was screaming louder than Journey, and so they had to send in a grief counselor for her, because she's the one that dropped Journey on her head. But Journey's been fine. She's actually pretty smart, pretty talented, so I don't think it did any permanent damage. Although it was very scary. And I was holding Journey, and because she was screaming and she couldn't open her eyes because it hit so hard, and Autumn was driving, and she drove up on the sidewalk, and I was terrified we were all going to be killed. So we stopped, and she got out, and I drove with Journey, holding Journey, and drove all the way to the ER because, it was one of the scary times. Let's talk about something better. That brings back really
bad.
Yeah.
That was way more dangerous than anything that could have happened to her, was that you drove holding her. That's terrifying.
Hey,
I mean, airbag part out of the zoo. Child safety is gonna come after you.
Yeah, now that was 14 years ago, so I'm good. So anyways, you guys grew up in children's theater, so and you took classes and did shows. So what do you think? Just tell us your experience with that. Give us some feedback on that.
I can say that I was always an extremely shy kid. I'm not like her. She can talk to anybody. She can make friends anywhere. And I always had trouble with that. So when you started putting us in theater, it brought a lot of confidence out of me because I got to become somebody else on stage. But I was also with other kids that were doing the same things that I did. I love the same thing. It really, really built up my confidence. It built up my people skills. And it built up my ability just to speak in front of a group. I could go anywhere right now. I could talk to 1,000 people and it wouldn't scare me. Sometimes I'm worse one-on-one than I would be in front of 1,000 because in that setting, that's when I'm most comfortable just performing. So yeah, it really helped with speech. It helped with, presentation, people skills, all of that. And then even with what I do now with choreographing for the center, like you always tell and remind me and tell people, I never took actual dance like lessons or classes. I learned everything that I did doing theater. So I would learn from my choreographers, and then I would just put into practice what I saw them do and started creating my own stuff. So it really, really had a huge effect on me.
And you actually learned to dance in ensemble, because my girls were very young when they started children's theater, and they didn't get leads till they grew older. And because when they first started, they were just like shower singers, literally, and had never had any formal training in anything. They just went to the children's theater there. And so they got cast a lot in ensemble. But I think that's where they learned to harmonize, where they learned to sing, where they learned to dance, is where they got their training, was all those shows. And that's where they got their best friends they've ever had. And friends to this day was hanging out backstage, because ensemble wasn't on stage near as much as the leads. And so that's where they made their friends and learned. And so that's why it's so good to be a part, of the whole program, because you learn so much just being a part of it.
Yeah. Some of our best memories were when we were inanimate objects.
100%. Yeah.
Well, we talked last week about Hamilton too, on the ensemble, and how amazing the ensemble was, and how they all had their own character, and they were so dedicated. And I remember we were fixated on, this one ensemble dancer, like the whole show, when we saw it at TPAC. My whole family at intermission were like, that blonde with the big hair. And we all just, so more than anything else, so, ensemble is such a character building foundational part of even being a lead. You have to understand how the ensemble works too.
Right. Yeah, I remember doing when you saying that, Mark. When we did Wizard of Oz, and I got Dorothy, and that was a huge. Dorothy's on stage literally the entire show. So like that show, I was there. Everything, and it was amazing. So the show after, we did Tom Sawyer, and I wanted Aunt Polly really bad, because that was another lead. I didn't get it. My mom actually directed that one. I ended up getting the Widow Douglas, and I was a Widow Douglas, and on another part, I got to play one of the boys, one of Tom's friends. I I was younger then, whatever, put a hat on and stuff. And I have to say, when I remember getting cast as that, I cried. I was so sad, because I had just been coming from Dorothy, and I was like, no, that's but I was like. But I don't think I have ever had more fun playing a role than I did Widow Douglas. I made her my own. I had so much fun. I got to have off times on stage, off stage with my friends, playing the boy, doing the dances. That was one of the funnest shows I've ever done, even more than being Dorothy. So there's something to be said for having fun in leads, and then taking little smaller character roles and just really developing your talent and your skill.
Now, she threatened to drop my show because I didn't cast her in Polly. She goes, I'm going to quit. And I'm like, oh, no, you're not. And so she was with Douglas, and she made it her own. She made Widow Douglas be the very flirt with all the men in the town. And so she got to enjoy flirting with all the guys on stage. But it was all in the sake of doing her part. But she was hilarious as Widow Douglas. And then, she got to dress up as a boy during in that show, we had to change the fence from plain to whitewashed, because, Tom Sawyer had tricks everybody into doing that. And the fence was actually one that flipped, but I didn't want the audience to see it flip. So we did a stomp number with the buckets. And every time while they were intense doing that number, somebody went through and flipped it. And every night the audience said, when did it change? And somebody bought a ticket 3 different times to come back to the show so they could watch it flip. And they would be so mesmerized by the stomp number every night that they forgot to watch it flip. So that was my theater magic. That was fun.
That was fun. That was a good show. That was one of my favorite shows we've ever done. It was a great show.
Mine too. It was
my kids are a lot like what Brittany was talking about. They started theater when they were 10, when we moved down here. And Estella started first. She did the first summer camp, Annie Jr., and Jude was a little nervous about doing it and meeting new people. Estella is the same kind of as Autumn. She could talk to anybody. She will have her shy moments, but she's definitely more outgoing than Jude. But now that he's done theater, his confidence is so much stronger. He's very well spoken. He's not afraid to talk to people. He might not be the first to go approach somebody like Estella, but he is not afraid. And so it really does give balance to personality and characteristic, and that's what I love about it is my kids are, he was a bookworm. He still loves books, but now he's sociable too. And so it's huge.
I remember Jude in Wizard of Oz when they did it for the kids or whatever, did the Wizard of Oz, and I told my mom after that, I said, I have never ever seen anybody play the lion better than Jude did. Like he was so good. Like he was perfect in that thing. Like I loved him playing that. He was so funny.
I did too.
Thanks. He loved that.
Really good. But yes, we are offering our classes now online. So if anybody's watching this and has kids that want to get involved, and the online classes are good. I know people are tired of online, and some people are doing school online, but online is a little bit more intimate. We have the more feels like more one-on-one, where you can really, our acting classes. Last session, the kids got really good. It was almost like personal acting coach, because we got to really, classes were smaller and we got to work. And I'm just going to do a shout out to Jen Martin. She got so good with her acting, and she just really pushed back through some barriers there. But we have a fun class. It's a game show. The stage is lava instead of the floor is lava. So you have to know your theater trivia. And today I was working on the curriculum for that class, and I so much trivia questions. Now some are easy, but some are going to fall in the lava if you don't know it. So if you sign up for that class, you'll be put on a team, and you have to, this obstacle course that's virtual, you have to go through, and you have to get through it by answering questions or performing sides that I have you perform, or a monologue, to see if you can do it. So that'll be fun. We also have a virtual play. Monsters are due on Maple Street, which is that was an old Twilight Zone episode years ago. And it was, do you remember that one? And it was written for those times. And it's funny how many years later the times are kind of the same, where we're fearful and we're at each other's throats and playing the blame game. So Monsters Due on Maple Street is a good one. And then for the younger kids, Monsters Anonymous. And all these will be done through Zoom as a play, full of costume. You're going to create your own set behind you, and we're going to perform it on Zoom. So we have choir, we have glamour gore, we have art, and we have minis classes. So this is just a commercial to advertise for those, because you do learn so much, and then you're ready once we pick back up again at the center, and hopefully that will be soon. And you're ready to go in, and you haven't had this long lapse of time where I have a feeling, I told Brittany last night, I have a feeling people are going to have to learn to dance all over again once we get back, because this long break, you build on your skills. As the more you do, the more you build. But then when you take your break, it's like, oh, I forgot. So.
Well, and I think too, like, I know for my kids, they certainly haven't been as active as they were when they were doing shows and dancing in shows and all that. They have to be intentional about doing that. Like they took the dogs for a walk or whatever. But I think coming back cardio wise, everybody's going to be.
Yeah. Everybody's going to be exhausted.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. And I think, I mean, especially during a pandemic when everybody's, feelings are, everybody's kind of struggling to stay active.
Okay, well, we'll see you guys next week. We're going to wrap it up and hope that Mark doesn't get eaten by a giant spider tonight in his sleep, because he let it loose in the woods. It's just going to only grow bigger and come back and be waving. One of his little legs is going to be waving at you from the window when you'll hear a tap, 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 and you'll look out and that spider will be waving at you.
I'm going to send it to your house.
Yeah. Dude.
How dare you let survive. In the year 2020, it's probably going to have like 1 million babies and take over the earth. It's not.
Did you ever see that movie Arachnophobia, where they came out of the sink and everything?
Yes.
Oh, look at the movie Arachnophobia. That's patients' worst nightmare. But they come from, they buy a house that's like on a spider hill or whatever, and they come out of the light sockets, the faucet, everywhere. That place is full of. Anyway. Okay, well, we'll see everybody next week on
The Review. Bye.
Bye.